Cypriot fans are passionate. Let's say it was my second or third game in Cyprus, and we played Apoel away, and we never started the game because a war started in the stands between our set of fans and the Apoel players.
Edo, welcome to another special edition of the No Choftes podcast. I'm your host, Del. Unfortunately, Roy's not here. Bob's here. It's okay. We'll give him a free pass. He's worked his bollocks off recently, but I have a special guest. Now, he played for the Las Tijage, played for the Godes, but he's a good friend of ours. Andrea Orlandi, welcome to the show, Filemo. How you doing?
How are you? How are you,
good,
I'm all right. I'm all right. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Likewise. How's Barcelona treating you? Listen, is it Barcelona? Because when I've been to
Barcelona.
Spain,
Barcelona.
Right.
Pronunciation is spot on. Perfect.
Yeah, no, because they say Valencia, but then some people say Valencia, and I'm like, well, the C is like a th, and the V is like a B.
Well, it all depends. People from the south of Spain, they got a different way of pronouncing things, and they might say Barcelona, like similar to South American.
Okay.
Let's say from people from Andalusia, but no, it's Barcelona.
Okay. You learn something new every day, man. Learn something new. So
in Catalan, by the way, it's Barcelona.
Oh, right. Because that's a different language as well. See, people don't realize is they think that people just speak Spanish in Spain. It ain't like that.
No. Catalan is a different language. You can't say in Catalonia that Catalan is a dialect or anything like it. No.
I know all about the politics. My missus, she works for a Spanish company. She goes to Barcelona quite regularly, and she's like, it's a different language. It's all good. So let me get it straight. You're living out there now in Barcelona. You've got your wife, your kids, your parents are out there. Is that right?
Yeah, my parents are Italian, but they moved over here before I was born. Obviously for work reasons.
Was it for work reasons? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. My dad got a job here in Barcelona, and obviously he moved himself for a year or so. And my sister, she was born in Italy, and my mom stayed over there. And then after a year, they came over here, and I was born in Barcelona, born and raised here.
So what part of Italy were your parents from?
My dad is from Ancona. It's a region called Le Marche in the center, in the Adriatic coast. And my mom is from near Venice, northeast.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And they met in Bologna at the university, and after that,
nice.
they're still together, which is great news.
Well, listen, long may that continue, mate. Long may that continue. Now, the reason why I ask is because I know that you're very close to your dad. You're very close to your dad, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he came to England when you first joined Swansea. He was with you at the airport. You flew over, and you were in the car with the chairman or player liaison officer, and they're playing music from Swansea City, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll go into that in just a bit, because the reason why I want to go all the way back to the beginning, because if I'm not mistaken, you were at Espanyol, is that right?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, Alaves. So how old were you when you were at Espanyol, and why didn't it work out for you, do you think?
Yeah, well, I started off at 10, when I was 10, and I played there for 3 years. It didn't work because physically I was still a kid, and the rest of my teammates, they were all not grown men, but physically they were much bigger and stronger than what I was. And obviously they couldn't really see it forward. They wanted the results. And obviously I wasn't delivering at the same level because physically I was not there. I was still a kid, and that's why not that I got rejected. They just said you're not good enough for it. Maybe you're not competitive enough to play this sport, and they decided to let me go. But I understand, because I was like, confidence wise, I was really down. I wasn't playing at my best. I wasn't the player I was going to be later on. So at the moment, if you think about it, if I was in charge of the academy, I would have thought, well, Andrea Orlandi is not going to make it. So there's no, obviously, I don't hold a grudge or anything like it. But obviously, for a young kid to hear the things they told me is not the easiest thing to take.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like, I'm quite surprised that was the reason they gave you, because I've always been under the impression that, that's more like a British mentality. If you're 10, 11 years old and you aren't physical enough or tall enough or strong enough, then you're not good enough. But in Spain, we've seen all right, I know that the Messi era, maybe the Iniesta era, you got players that are shorter, but they got a low center of gravity. They're better technically, and that's what I'd have assumed it was throughout the nation.
Yeah, it all depends on the clubs, and Espanyol is not the case right now. They've changed it, and there's different people running the academy and everything. But when I was there, it was more like the main objective was get on top of Barcelona. We gotta beat Barca. If we third but Barca fourth, is good enough, and that was the main thing that they would tell us before the season started. And I think that in the 3 years I played for Espanyol, I always beat Barca. I always finished first, on top of them, and it wasn't about actually getting not only footballers. It wasn't about thinking about the progression of a footballer. It was about it was a results based,
Right.
and obviously as an academy you can't run an academy like this. I mean, I don't think that this is the reason why clubs have a youth system. They've got it to develop players, and obviously you're not a footballer when you're 13. You still need to develop lots of things, not only physically but also the understanding of the game. And but everything's changed now. It's not the same Espanyol, so there were different people running it, and I'm sure it wouldn't be the same case right now.
No, absolutely. The thing is, the reason why I brought that up originally is because I know you've been through a lot of adversity in the game. You've had injuries. There was that little misunderstanding with Guardiola where you didn't turn up to a meeting, which again, that's something that we'll go into. But your career ended because of a, if I'm not mistaken, a heart condition. If that's correct. So
Yeah.
that was 2 years ago. So effectively, you're still making that transition from pro footballer into a retired pro, but at the same time, you're still delving into different things like with La Liga TV, etc. So how have you found it? Is it been difficult? Do you find it very stressful? Like you miss that part of the game, the banter and all that kind of thing that it encapsulates the game as a player?
Yeah, absolutely. I miss it every day. I mean, the mindset of a footballer in my case, you actually plan your week knowing that you got an exam on the weekend, which is the game. And obviously you really look forward to it. Now I don't have the game anymore. So for my head to get through it, it wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I'm a positive guy, and I've always thought that there's always an opportunity around the corner, and it's actually what happened, because since retiring I've never stopped of doing things that keep me busy. I miss football every day still. Every single day I wake up and I love to go into the training ground and have the banter that you were talking about, the grind, the suffering as well. When we had to do some fitness work, and I didn't like it at all. But I got through it, and it was like a challenge, for myself every day. But I think that a sportsman dies twice, when you have to retire and when you actually have to. And it's a part of my life that it's been very important. It's been most of my life really. But after that, you've got hopefully so many years to live, and that's how I felt. At the moment I had to retire through the health problem. Let's get on with it, and let's go for the next challenge.
But are you okay though? I mean, is it something that's
I'm okay. I mean, I get checked every 6 months. I'm not taking any medication. Obviously I have to be careful with the diet. I can't do any sports. Obviously I like run, I like jog. I've never liked the gym, to be honest. When I was a footballer, now I have to do something. Otherwise, the belly keeps growing. But as long as I keep fit, I eat healthy, and I look after myself, I'll be okay.
This is something that they spotted during a medical for an Italian team. So, am I right in assuming that it just sprung up on you? It wasn't something that was going throughout your career?
Well, we're still finding out.
Oh wow! Okay.
Because obviously it's not a problem, not a genetic thing that it came through my family. I've always had. It's been an injury that affected my heart. It could have been a silent heart attack, maybe where you feel bad for 10 days and you don't know what happens, and or maybe an infection. It might be any infection that goes through your throat and then went to your heart, something like it. So we're still finding out what happened and when it happened. because it wasn't like one incident that provoked it. Like when I was playing in India, I started feeling really bad, and this is when I went back to Italy. I didn't pass the medical, and they found a big scar in my left ventricle. So how long has this been there for? I don't know. The thing I know, I've been lucky enough to play 17 years as a professional footballer. Nothing happened to me, and obviously I can talk about it with a smile in my face, but obviously I've been at risk. I don't know for how long, to be honest.
That's scary. That's very scary. And I think the even bigger heartbreaking, pardon the pun, the bigger heartbreaking part of this is that your career didn't end because of like an ACL or a double leg break. It was something that, it's internal. It's not as if it's someone that smashed you and that was it, or you done your knee on the turf or something, you twisted your ankle and you done your Achilles or whatever. It was something that's completely beyond your control. That must have been even more difficult to take.
Yeah, it was. But I've always had to fight against my body still, in terms of I've had so many injuries where I've always looked after myself. I've always eaten properly, hydrated myself, never went out, never smoked, being professional. Even I took my wisdom teeth out because they said they said once, no, this might be the reason why you're getting injured.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Yeah, I remember having all 4 out, and I had to train the next day and play the day after. I was in such pain, but I did everything to keep myself fit, and it was a battle against my own body because I don't know why my body couldn't cope with it, and the hard was the last episode of it where my body didn't let me go through and didn't let me keep going, and obviously on one side it is frustrating, but on the other side it was like, okay, I have to stop. I mean, there's no plan B in football. There's no an operation. Yeah, there is, but it's risky to keep going. So, well, Andrea, now it's over, and let's face the reality, and let's go for the next episode, the next step.
Yeah, 50 bucks kilo, as we say, man. Scary. Well, look, you've done a lot in your career, but what I want to fast forward to when you came to Cyprus and you joined Anorthosis, one of our rivals. Now, we've seen many former Premier League players or even Championship players come to Cyprus, especially even more recently. Like Jordi Gomez is doing a phenomenal job at Omonia, absolute quality player. I love the guy to bits as well.
He's my brother-in-law. Do you or not? Did you know that?
Listen, I kind of knew. But I didn't want to say anything, I thought I'd just throw his name in there, just reel you in a little bit, got the rod out, No, I did know. I did know, yes. And I didn't mention him just so you can say it. I just think he's a quality player, and I've messaged him a few times through Instagram because we follow each other, and such a nice guy. And the scary thing is, I know some of his old teammates at Wigan as well. So yeah, small world, but yeah. So you came to Cyprus. I'm pretty sure you had offers from other countries, because when I think, if I'm not mistaken, before you joined Swansea, you had an offer from Aris Thessaloniki. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
There you go. So did you have any other offers before coming to Cyprus, or
I had another year at Blackpool. To start with, that I didn't want to take, so I actually because I had a very difficult season there. Obviously nowadays Blackpool is a different club, but when I was there, the Oystons were running it. It was an absolute disaster. I had I was training with Bolton. Neil Lennon was the manager, and obviously I trained for a week. It was a very positive week. He wanted to talk to me. And then I went to his office, waited for an hour and a half. Nobody opened the door, and this is when I decided to accept the offer from Anorthosis. When I was in Cyprus in Larnaca, this is when they called me saying, "Listen, we want to see you on Tuesday. You're gonna have a few training sessions, and then you're playing next Saturday, and then we can make a decision on you." And I said, "Well, you know what? I've just signed for Anorthosis. Thank you for everything, and that's it." So it's not like I had some offers, but there were different opportunities, but I had friends playing in Cyprus, and I thought, why not? Anorthosis at the time, they wanted to win the league, which is not easy. The project looked ambitious, and I said, why not? I'm gonna try. And even though I struggled at the beginning, to be honest, it is a very different football and reality. I ended up enjoying myself. The season wasn't as successful as we all expected, but obviously I ended up signing for Apoel.
Do you know what? There was an article I read ages ago. I forget which publication it was. And I think you said something along the lines of you had some bad experiences at Anorthosis, and I think the way the teams treat the players is unacceptable, or something along those lines. And the phrase "This is Cyprus, my friend" comes to mind, which is something that even I spoke to Jason Punchin the other day, and even he's saying, yeah, that phrase is so common because everyone knows what it means. But are you able to elaborate what happened to you out there? Because I've spoken to a few people that still live in Cyprus, and they've had great experiences with my club anyway. I'm not talking about other clubs, but was it that bad, or was it maybe at the time you felt a little bit frustrated with the way that things were and you felt that you had to just get it out there?
Well, a few things happened to me. First of all, it was my fault in terms of my performances weren't at the level that everyone expected. And it was because it was like a culture shock for me to come from England to Cyprus, and it did take me a while to adapt to it. Once I did, the club tried to put me out of the squad list in I would say a strange kind of maneuver. Anyway, they couldn't sign the player they hoped for, and they decided to bring me back into the squad list, which was they did it after the January transfer window, so I had no options to go anywhere. So my career was over. This is why I tell you it was difficult, and I had to cope with different things. But that was the probably the moment that actually switched my motivation on. From that moment onwards, I said, listen, I'm going to prove that they were wrong, and this is when I started playing well. Now, I've got a good relationship with the owners of Anorthosis, with Pulaidis and his son, and I actually talked to them, and they were the ones that tried to get me out of the club. And I remember after signing for Apoel that Pulaidis, we had a dinner together and everything. And they said, why didn't you play well at the beginning? And I said, well, President, you need to understand that footballers need time to adapt to a new life, a new country, new football. And it wasn't like I didn't want to play well. There's things in football that they need to take to be considered and take it into account. Anyway, as I said before, I don't hold a grudge. I mean, it was an experience that really helped me. It could have been a career-ending experience, because if Anorthosis put me out of the list at 31 and I don't play from that moment until the end of the season, where am I going to go? But obviously, I always try to take positives out of it. Fans weren't happy because results weren't the greatest. We had a few protests down the training ground and at the stadium.
I think you only won one game in the playoffs that season, didn't you? You scored the winner against Salamina.
Yeah, we did.
So can you imagine? Can you imagine they didn't play you for that long, and then you scored the only goal at the playoff, scored the goal in the playoffs, your only win. It's poetic,
it was terrible, because at the time we had Neophytos Larkou, who's at Omonia now, very capable. He's got great knowledge of the game, and he was my best coach when I was at Anorthosis. And I actually thought when he signed, I thought, well, this guy's from Cyprus. President is not happy with me. I'm not going to play ever again. And on my first training session, he actually, he told me to go to the dressing room, because I had an argument with one of my teammates, and I said, well, that's it, game over. The next day, he told me, yeah, I know everything that happened to you. You're going to play every single game. I know you're a good player. So go out and enjoy yourself. And I said, wow. And it was fantastic. So it was the reason why I ended up signing for Apoel, because I played every single game. I played really well with them, and even though we didn't win in the playoffs, we played quite good football. And obviously, now he's at Omonia, and you see the results of Omonia.
Oh yeah, absolutely working wonders there with Henningberg and the rest of the team. So you moved to Apoel under Thomas Christensen, if I'm not mistaken. Well, hang about, wasn't he at Barcelona when you were there?
No. He's a
Was it
little bit older
before?
than me. I'm not
He's a bit
that old.
older. Okay, sorry. I'm
No
thinking
worries.
because I know he's from. He's got the surname. It doesn't sound like a Catalan surname or a Spanish surname,
No,
but
he's from Denmark.
from
He's from
Denmark, yeah.
Denmark, and but he's got both nationalities. He actually played for the national team of Spain
Right.
once because obviously they wanted to prevent Denmark from the call-up.
Taking him, yeah.
and he was at AEK Larnaca doing a great job, and Apoel appointed him, and we had and it was a different experience. Very enjoyable at the beginning. We played the qualifying rounds of the Champions League. We won the group in Europa League, and I was playing quite regularly. Then I got injured, and after that injury, I really struggled to get any game time.
But you were out for a month though, weren't you? You were literally out for a month.
I was out for longer than that. I should have been out for a couple of weeks. Then the diagnosis wasn't the right one, and obviously I was re-injuring myself over and over again. And more than 2 months I was out for.
So okay, look, I know I have a lot of Omonia fans having got me for this, but this is obviously one of the biggest clubs on the island. There are deadly rivals, and I'm fair. And while I don't agree with their methods of winning titles in the past, or certain decisions have gone their way, you can't discredit them. And that season was fantastic. I think you beat Athletic Bilbao. Was it 4-3 in aggregate? Lost 3-2 away, but they had players like Munyain, Iñaki Williams was there.
Yeah, same.
Benyats was there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The same squad they've got now. A very similar squad, very strong squad. We had a great team. I have to admit, we got great players. We lost De Vincenti, but we had De Camargo, Pieros. Pieros is a superb striker. We got Efrem.
He's a Ludogorets now.
Yeah, Efrem is a painful one for you.
Efrem, we don't talk about him. We don't talk about him.
Anorthosis, we don't talk about him.
Don't talk about him either.
We had Yorgos Merkis, who for me is underrated. We had Ioannou, getting through. Iñaki Steve.
Yeah, Nick Ioannou, the left back. He's at United.
Aris now. Yeah, exactly.
He's at United's academy. I know his mum actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's right. She's cool. But yeah, he went to Nottingham Forest with Marinakis, and then he ended up Less said about that, the better, I think. Anyway.
No, we had a great squad. Good players, and I thought we were much better than the rest. Obviously, it was a very different Omonia at the time. Anorthosis was going through a difficult moment, trying to rebuild themselves. AEL and Apoel were our strongest opponents at the moment. But we had Roberto Lago as well, the fullback, who played in La Liga over 100 games. So we got a very strong squad.
Mate, do you know what? Your knowledge of Cypriot football, I know you were there for 2 years, and obviously you were there playing against these teams, but you still remember the players, and it's almost as if like you did your research on every single player. Like you could say, oh, they were at that team, they were that team, they were that team. Christensen was at AEK. Not many people would have known that, unless you're
Yeah, but because everywhere I go, I try to learn, and I think there's great footballers everywhere, and there's footballers in Cyprus that could play in the Premier League. And I'm not. This is not bullshit. Obviously, if you look at, I remember at Apollon, they had some Portuguese players that they were flying. Alex da Silva, of course, the Brazilian. I can't remember the name of the right back, but it was a Portuguese right back. It was fantastic. Nuno Vale, the goalkeeper. At AEK, they got some great players. Omonia, Nuno Assis was a super player, wasn't he? What a player he was. I mean, I've seen some really good players in Cyprus. Thinking, even the young ones, thinking, hey, they could have a go in England, or maybe not the Premier League to start with, but in the Championship, and then try to get through it. Like, who's the I can't remember the name of the right back that plays in England. He used to play for Crewe, didn't he? Or for Walsall, who's in the national team.
Jason Dimitriou.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was trying to build himself up to, he could have played in the Championship if he wanted to. So you've got some good players there, and I always try to watch the games and learn. It's something that I really like during my career. That's why now I'm I'm trying to analyze the game from different from a different point of view. But I've always done it.
Yeah. Well, has your brother-in-law, I'm not going to say his name, has your brother-in-law spoken to you about the youngsters out on Monia? Because there are two that are really standing out this season, Johnny's and Loizo. They've been remarkable. Johnny's especially, I'd say, because he's been more consistent, and Loizo had a spell on the bench and on the sidelines, but he's come on leaps and bounds. Well, he's got 17, not even 18 yet, man.
Well, my brother-in-law is a man of a few words. If you want a chance to speak to him, no, but he's happy. He's happy with. He's very happy at Omonia. He's happy of the way the clubs run. I think that let's call it in a very European way, very professional. Obviously, Larku being there is, let's say you know that everything is going to be organized. Simos, who was my assistant coach when I was at Anorthosis, is there as well. The football people, they know what they do. And obviously now that you've told me about these two players, I'll go and check them, because I'd lie to you if I told you that I know them. Obviously I've seen Omonia playing in Europa League following Jordi, because he's not only my brother-in-law, but he's a very close friend of mine.
Of course.
And what about the goal he scored against PSV? That wasn't bad at all.
I was in Cyprus actually at the time. I was in a hotel in Larnaca, and I was watching it on the big screen. I was going absolutely crazy, and obviously Larnaca's full of fans that aren't Omonia fans, I guess. And I got a few, but yeah, it's not as bad as doing it in a pub in Liverpool if you're a Man United fan, I guess. So there you go. But
of course, but honestly, in Cyprus, people, they did respect me. When I moved to Apoel from Anorthosis, there's a big rivalry, and but Anorthosis fans could understand me because of what had happened the previous season. When I played at the Antonis Papadopoulos, yes, of course, there was people not happy with me, but other than that, when I got subbed, there was people, clapping and obviously acknowledging what I tried to do when I was their player. And same with Omonia fans. With Omonia fans, I remember warming up, at the Gasipi for Apoel, and the Omonia fans were very kind to me. So I've never felt, the rivalry is huge. The atmosphere in the derbies is absolutely fantastic. But there's always been respect, towards me from the fans in Cyprus.
Right, that's good to hear, mate. Because the one thing I have noticed, especially recently, the players don't get as much abuse from rival supporters. It's mostly just the fans that go at it with each other, which that should be really. Well, they shouldn't be going at it at all. But you know what I mean. The players. I was talking to Timo Wenzel that played for Omonia in 2010 when we won the league, and then I think the season before he was there, and we lost against, was it Apollon, I think. And the Omonia fans are throwing stones at the bus. What are you doing, man? It's your own players. It's crazy. But you were involved in a little incident, weren't you? Or not you personally, but yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Cypriot fans are passionate. Let's say. It was my second or third game in Cyprus, and we played Apollon away. And we never started the game because a war started in the stands between our set of fans and the Apollon players, and Merkis was involved in it. Yorgos Merkis. Obviously, I laughed at it now, but at the moment I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, it was crazy. We were warming up. There were chairs being thrown, stones as well, and I was actually, is that okay? And then obviously the assistant coach said, no, that's fine. We're 1-0 up for us. And I said, I'm not sure. And obviously the game was called off, and we lost the game 3-0. We couldn't play. And I had a few issues trying to get out of the Antonis Papadopoulos because the fans weren't too happy with us. But other than that, nothing to say, nothing to complain about. Absolutely.
That's fair enough. And I take it while you're out there, you enjoy the local cuisine and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what? It sounds like really patronizing for me to say this, because of course you're out there. What are you going to have? Like fish and chips? Like what?
No, I did. I love the lifestyle. I mean, and even my wife now tells me she would be more than happy to live in Cyprus. and we had a great life. My daughters were happy we're going to an international school, and the level was really good. We lived in Larnaca, near the beach. The cuisine you were talking about, yeah, well, not in Mackenzie, but we lived in Pila.
Okay.
Yeah, we lived in Pila, and it was very quiet, and the neighborhood was great. The food was fantastic, souvlaki, pilaf, whatever. It was just just great. Yeah, and I loved it. I loved it. As a player, you do feel the pressure because if you play for big clubs, people expect you to deliver. But I've always enjoyed the pressure, and it was a good experience. It was a good experience. Quite short. It was a year and a half, but I loved. I was gonna say I loved every second of it. Well, I'm not. I don't want to lie. I loved most of it.
Excellent. Yeah, that's fair enough. It's understandable. Look, you play for them too, so of course you're going to enjoy a little bit. But do you know what? We spoke about that banter earlier about how you missed the banter, and that kind of banter doesn't exist in Cyprus when you compare it to the UK. Because when you were at Swansea, even Brighton, you had people like Lewis Dunk and Leroy Lita at Brighton, and then at Swansea, you had Gary Monk, Leon Britton, Joe Allen. I'm pretty sure that the banter was completely different. But there's one thing I need to ask you, and again, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Gus Poyet, I remember, was pissed off about an incident that involved shit in Crystal Palace's dressing room. And from what I understand, or from what I've heard, is that it was actually the coach driver that couldn't hold it in. He just took a massive dump in Crystal Palace's changing room. Is that right?
Yeah. It was the pool gate, as they called it. Listen, we went into the game. We were in the dugout, and you could see the Crystal Palace players that were at it. They were really angry, and you could sense, fucking hell, these guys are at it today.
Ian Holloway was manager, right? Ian Holloway was
the manager, and we were favourites going into it. We played the first leg at Selhurst Park, and we were much better than them, 0-0 at home with our fans. Anyway, you could see that these players, and the game starts, and they gave the fans like a stupid thing. It wasn't, and made some horrible noise. And as we were playing, you wouldn't feel like comfortable. That noise was horrible. Then
like a
their players. It was like.
Yes, yeah, they did had that back in the 1920s.
Oh man, that was a stupid decision. Anyway, Palace started the game better, and we were like, this game's gonna be hard. Anyway, we end up losing 2-0, and after the game is when we find out that something happened in the Palace dressing room. They got into it, and there was shit everywhere. So the day after, we spoke to Stephen Dobby. Stephen Dobby was on loan from Brighton to Palace. Day after, 2 days later, because it was a painful one to take. And I spoke to him, and I said, "Listen, congratulations, you're going to Wembley." He was on loan from us, but I had to. He was my teammate, my friend. And he said, and I asked him about the shit thing, about the pool thing. And he said, "Listen, mate, you know what happened? Because the official version was someone from Brighton just went there and delivered. But the actual thing was the coach driver couldn't hold it in. He couldn't make it into the toilet, and did it where getting into the dressing room was a complete mess. When he asked the Brighton people to clean it up, they went in and said, 'Fuck it, you do it.' So they left it there, and obviously the rest is history. Because Ian Holloway after the game said, 'Well, I thank Brighton. I didn't have to do a team talk because of what we found in the dressing room.' Anyway, it's a funny story, but it's actually a painful one, man, because we were favorites to go up, and we should have done it, and we couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, they say if a bird shits on you, apparently that's good luck. But when a coach driver shits in your dressing room, when you go to Wembley,
well, exactly, it was good luck for them.
Oh man, well listen, I'm sure. Okay, I don't think you've experienced anything quite like that before in England, but I'm sure you've seen and heard stories. I've heard all sorts of stories from many footballers I've spoken to. A lot of them I can't actually repeat. But you coming from Spain to the UK, especially Swansea, we're a club where, okay, it's a nice stadium. You know, Roberto Martinez was there, and there's a few Spanish players. Angel Rangel, if I'm not mistaken, he was your roommate. Is that right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So there's a lot of Spanish players there, so you could kind of like get used to the club quite quickly. But you know, the facilities were shit. You were getting dressed in the changing room in the car park. You were washing your own kits. I mean, this is something that was unheard of, especially, you know, Barcelona, even Alaves. No?
Yeah. No, Alaves, we had 2 training grounds. It was brilliant. The setup was brilliant. Yeah, Barcelona was fantastic, top facilities. And yeah, I remember after the first training session calling my girlfriend at the time, so my wife now, and telling her, wow, you know, I got it so wrong. And but no, I mean, once you get used to it, it was a way of keeping us those and keeping us you know, a little bit calm in a way, because when I got back to Swansea a few years after I left, and I saw Ferraris in the car park and Aston Martins, and yeah, it's good, but you could see it wasn't the same club. You know, it was a family club where money was you know, not the greatest, and we weren't playing for money. We were playing for you know, for something special, because going from League One to the Premier League with the budget we had, playing a different style of football, that's something that I'm really proud of. And you could see we were a hungry group of players that wanted to achieve that. And obviously, when money comes into the equation, things change, but it's normal. I mean, it's normal in football. But yeah, I mean, we had no dressing room. Then we got changed in a Virgin gym, and obviously we got changed with the fans and got showered with the fans. So and now I'm thinking about, you know, I don't want to talk about it.
You're lucky social media wasn't big back then, because your photograph would have been everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. There was no social media at the time, so lucky enough. There was no Instagram.
No Twitter. If it was Twitter, you came over. Your career's done, mate. It's done.
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't do that now. But no, it was part of the, you know, of the club, and we got on with it. I remember before playing City at home, because we changed in the gym, and our meeting room was used for a fucking spinning class. Sorry, I said fucking sorry.
All right, man.
So we got kicked out of our meeting room because there was a spinning class, and then Brendan Rodgers had to find, you know, somewhere else to go, and there was a Holiday Inn Express down the road. So we walked into the Holiday Inn Express. We had the meeting there, walked into the training pitch that we had to go across the road as well. And then I was looking at my teammates. I said, listen, if we beat City tomorrow, we're just heroes. I mean, we are heroes. And we did. We beat City 1-0. Luke Moore scored. And guys, you know, it's football, 11v11. And at the end of the day, as long as you can train and you got your training kit, if you have to wash it, lads, get on with it. Now kids, they got it so easy still. They've never been through like cleaning the boots of the first team players like they used to do in England.
Yeah.
You know, getting the goal, you know, getting the ball back, put the balls back into the bag. Yeah, I remember being at Brighton and 18-year-old players, they had better cars than mine. You know what I mean? I mean, they were driving a better car than what I had. You know, after over 200 games in the league. So, and it was normal. You know, in my days, if I was driving a Mercedes going into a dressing room at Alaves, they would have punched me in the face. But you know, they would say, "Listen,
you've achieved nothing yet, so take it back."
Yeah, what are you doing? And I heard Jurgen Klopp talking about it not long ago, about a reserve player that turned up with a £15,000 Rolex and a Mercedes, and he said, "This is your car, and is this your watch? What are you doing? How many games have you played?"
Yeah.
Exactly. So things have changed, unfortunately. But in my days, this is what we had to go with, and yeah, no, but it was it's funny, man, if you think about it.
Well, of course. I'm glad you said that word "funny" because the next thing I wanted to discuss. I know we've been going off quite a bit. And again, I appreciate you coming on, mate. You were at Barcelona, obviously. You played a couple of games there. Well, you played in you made your debut in a friendly against San Etienne, if I'm not mistaken. You got some great Ronaldinho stories, which I'm going to ask you in just a moment. But this is going to sound really weird, but I mentioned Ronaldinho, and then I'm going to talk about Niall Ranger, who was at Blackpool at the same time as you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Ronaldinho was a party guy. I know he speaks Greek as well. He goes to Athens to the Bouzoukia, which is crazy. It's unbelievable. But then you've got Niall Ranger, who, okay, nowhere near as talented, but he had so much ability and so much potential. But again, his lifestyle or his life's decisions completely flush his career down the toilet. What was he like at Blackpool?
He's a guy with a big heart. A big heart, and he's a good guy. He just has the ability to make 90% of the times or take the wrong decision. And I remember when he signed, it was on a low contract. Basically, it was like games based, where if he had played, he would have earned a decent amount of money. And he was complaining about it. And I said, listen, man, we need you because we were struggling. We didn't have a great team. Ability-wise, was a fantastic player. Well, he's got a chance now back at Southend. So hopefully he's gonna get back on track. Let's see. But obviously, I talked to him for half an hour, 40 minutes, and he said, "Well, Andrea, thank you, I appreciate it. Blah blah blah. No, this season, I'm gonna be at it." And I think the next day he didn't turn up for training, and it was, I don't know where he was, but and I said, "Wow," and it happened. I'm not gonna say constantly, because he did play some games, and I can't remember if he scored. I think he scored a couple of goals, but you could see the ability was there. So strong, impossible to get the ball off him. A natural goal scorer, but the head wasn't there.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he regrets it because he could have had a fantastic career, Niall. And I tell you, he's got a big heart, man. He's got the look of a gangster, and he's a huge guy, but you can see in his eyes that he's a nice guy. And listen, I didn't have a bad relationship with him. I just realized I couldn't help him, so I tried once, and then I said, I'm not going to waste my time on Niall because, as I said, it's time wasted.
Well, this is it. And you mentioned the youngsters at Liverpool with the watches and the cars and everything. You're talking about a player here that has all the ability, but up here they just didn't have it. And I think that's where a lot of young footballers are going wrong. Granted, they have a similar situation to you at Espanyol, where people judge them and say you're not going to be good enough, you're not going to have this, you're not going to have that. But then you've got other ones that have got so much ability, but because they're so focus or caught up on social media or girls or alcohol or even drugs, they don't have the right mindset to make it as a pro footballer, because when the pressure hits the fan, they crumble.
I don't know what the problem was with Niall. I don't know if it was girls or partying, wherever. There was a problem though, where he didn't take it seriously, I think, at times, or he didn't really he didn't think about consequences of the things he was doing, because he was that good that he thought it was going to be easy. When he started at Newcastle, I played against Newcastle when Niall was there. Andy Carroll was there in the Championship. They had a hell of a team and they got promoted. And you could see that this guy is gonna be big. But I don't know. He's got the connection up there sometimes didn't work, and well, hopefully he can get back on track and play a few years before he retires and show the ability he's got. But obviously he's lost the opportunity of having a great career.
Absolutely. All right. Well, look, one more thing before we wrap it up, mate. I can't not talk to you about Barcelona. I can't not talk to you. I mean, Frank Rijkaard called you the David Beckham with the left foot. You played with Ronaldinho, Iniesta, Xavi. Mate, I don't even know what to ask you what you haven't already been asked before. When I had Zeres on the show the other day, I felt like I was a kid, sitting cross-legged on the floor listening to my granddad telling stories, because he was like, wow, Ronaldo, what a guy. Zanetti, oh my God, like all these players. And I'm like, fucking hell. So, yes, the same with you, man. Ronaldinho, for me, I think he should be classed as one of the greats ever. And I think had it not been for his activity off the field, he probably would have been the GOAT. They would have been talking about him like Maradona and Messi and Cristiano and R9.
Yeah, I mean, ability-wise is the best I've seen. And Messi was there. Messi was 17, 18 when I was there. Obviously, you could see the talent, and he was unreal for his age. But Ronaldinho was something else. I mean, the touch, how powerful he was as well. I mean, he was so fit. Technically, he could do anything. In training, it would surprise you. I mean, I was shocked. I was like, easy there, man. And I didn't even think I had the same. I was a footballer looking at Ronaldinho. I can't consider myself a footballer seeing what Ronnie does. Anyway, I remember you talked about San Etienne debut. I came on with 30 minutes to go. He scores a brilliant goal on the top corner, and then last minute of the game, we're trailing, we're losing 2-1. It was a friendly anyway, and he gets past 2 or 3 players, and he gives me the no look pass. And as I was watching, I thought, is this really happening? And I didn't know what to do. And I thought, listen, I'm gonna go inside of my left foot. I'm gonna try to cross. I don't know what I tried to do. Anyway, the ball just went over the fucking net behind the goal. And there was Eto, Belletti. They were like, what's this guy doing? So I remember getting back into the dressing room in the shower. I felt so small. Honestly, I felt like I didn't want to talk to anybody. Nobody would talk to me, and it was a terrible moment. No, but with Ronaldinho, it was always smiley. He would always joke to me saying, "You're 14, 15. You can't be older than that," because I had no beard and I looked really, really young. But the things I've seen him do in training is just, I've never seen anything like it. He hasn't been consistent, because if you look at Messi and Ronaldo being consistently the best for 15, 16 years, Ronnie was at the top for 4 or 5 years. And after that, he was a party boy. And in football, those details make a huge difference. Once you're not at that level, physically, it's over.
But he's a clever lad as well. That's the thing. He speaks French, Greek, Spanish. Like stupid people don't speak that many languages. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but obviously he used the languages to speak to different girls of different nationalities.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's got lyrics, mate.
No, I mean, when people think about footballers being dumb or stupid, no, they've got a different type of intelligence. The intelligence of reading the situations earlier than anyone else, and this is what makes them different. Not only talent-wise, yes, the Messis, Ronaldinhos, Ronaldos. These are I don't consider them top footballers. They're gods.
Yeah.
But talent-wise, the rest of footballers are there. A little bit better, a little bit worse. The difference is the intelligence of thinking earlier and making a decision earlier and quicker than the others. And this is what makes them different. And when you see Ronaldinho, Messi in training, Iniesta, Xavi, they knew what they were going to do 2 seconds before you. And that's why they were ahead of you, not only technically but also mentally. So that's why they say, no, Ramos is stupid or Messi is dumb because he hasn't read a book or anything. No, they got a different type of intelligence.
Yeah,
and they are very intelligent, man. And they wouldn't be top footballers if they weren't.
No, of course not. This meeting with Pep Guardiola that he didn't attend. As far as, again, if I'm not mistaken, he was the Barcelona B head coach. He'd just been appointed and he wanted to talk to every player individually. And I think you had your meeting was scheduled for 1 o'clock and your training was 11. So you went home and then you didn't go back. Am I right here?
Yeah.
I've got good memory when it comes to researching, brother. Don't worry about it.
Well done. Good research. Something I wanted to forget about.
But this is a big learning curve for you, though, no? Big learning curve.
No, he was because from that moment onwards, I always spoke to managers that wanted to talk to me. He wanted to speak to some players, which makes it even worse. And I thought, well, what is he gonna tell me that I don't know? I didn't want to play for Barca B because we just got relegated to the League 2, let's say the 4th tier of Spanish football. And I was on loan from Alaves, and I thought I'm gonna go back to Alaves, playing the Championship in Segunda División, and be the main man there. I don't want to hear him. It's what time is it? 11. Meeting at 1:30, I think it was. So I left and went home, and how stupid and dumb I was, because I didn't have anyone, close to me. Yes, my dad, but obviously no one to talk to and ask him if I was making the right decision. So I decided to leave, and you never know what would have happened. He might have told me, I don't think you're good enough, or he might have told me, listen, I want you to stay at Barca B, and you're gonna be that player, and you're gonna learn, and I would have fell in love with him. I would have, fallen in love with him as I did with Paulo Sousa later on when I went to Swansea when he asked me to.
Paulo Sousa was at Panathinaikos. He played centre mid with my friend Costa Giasso, and they're actually still good friends to this day, which is small world kind of thing. But that's my name dropping again. I'm sounding like these other pundits. Sorry. What I wanted to ask you is because Guardiola was a legend at Barcelona. I remember him in the early 90s. I mean, I can't remember if he played in the 92 European Cup final when Koeman scored the winner. Can't remember if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
So he was somewhat of a Barcelona hero, and you coming from that part of the world, I'd have thought, wow, this is Guardiola. He wants to talk to me. Like, when you got a kid at Man United, for example, and say Michael Carrick says, come to the office, they'll be like, shit, it's Michael Carrick. But like you just said, maybe you felt, oh, well, what can he tell me that I don't already know? But that, again, it's the mindset.
That's the problem with young players. That's why I tell you that going to Swansea, having to watch my own kid, was a good thing for me. Because when you are at Barca, you think you know everything. You think you've made it, and you haven't done anything. You haven't even started yet. When you were playing for the B team, so that was me being stupid, probably for the first and last time in my career. And I deeply regret it, but obviously you learn from it. And I never, every time a manager wanted to talk to me, I made sure that I attend that meeting and listen very carefully. And I do regret it, man. I do regret it.
Well, I've got one more football related question, and I'm sure it's going to be an easy one to answer. Going back to the Omonia players I've mentioned, like your Johnny's, Gagulis, Loizu, etc., there's a whole heap of players that have broken through the academy into the first team. I mean, we played Ike at the beginning of the season. 7 players were from the academy. 5 started, 2 were on the bench. So there's progress being made at academy level, and Henning Berg is blooding the youngsters. But how vital is it that these youngsters talk to the likes of Jordi Gomez, Thomas Huberchan, that's won the Europa League, players like Fabiano that have played in Turkey for Fenerbahce and FC Porto, etc., etc. It's vital for them to ask these questions and ask for advice. Is that not correct? Because I've been banging on about this for ages, and I'm not saying that the players aren't listening, but especially for younger lads that are watching this, because I know there are kids that are 13, 14 in Omonia's Academy that watch this podcast, and they actually message me on Instagram, and they ask me questions about coaching. I don't know nothing about coaching, but you've played at the highest level. You played at Barcelona with Ronaldo, Iniesta, etc., or Ronaldinho, sorry, all these players. So please, can you just emphasize how important it is to ask questions, especially when you've got the older generation there? It's not just like, oh, they're just an old person. Trust me, they've got the experience, It's not ages.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Not only asking questions, you gotta have your eyes wide open and your ears as well. Try to listen, to what they tell you, and try to not to copy what they do, but actually, watch very closely how they train, how professional they are. Because if they keep playing, Jordi's 36 now. If he keeps playing in Europa League at the level he's playing in Cyprus with Omonia, is because he's a super fit athlete. He's crazy with yoga and Pilates. He eats, so healthy. I mean, you can't really go out with him and enjoy a dinner, because if he had to weigh the food, he would do. And is someone that is into meditation as well. I'm not saying the youngsters they should do it, but there's a reason behind. Jordi's still playing at 36 at a very good level. Same with Papulis, for example. Papulis as well, who's playing for Omonia. These are players that obviously you should be looking at and trying to emulate. And obviously, if you have something to ask to them, I'm sure that they'll be more than happy to answer and help you out. Because it's not the same as it was when I started. I made my debut for Alaves. The captain was left out, and then the captain made my life hell, because I was getting and trying to play where he was playing. after that moment, I always thought, listen, when I'll be a veteran, I'll never do that. And I made sure that I helped the young players, even though they were playing my position, because I've been there before, and it's not an easy situation. Listen, it's oír, ver y callar, as they told me when I was younger, which is listen, ver, observe, and keep your mouth shut. This is what you should do as a youngster, and try to learn, try to be a sponge, and obviously take as much from from the players that you respect and you see. I mean, I think they've got the players you mentioned. I think they're good enough, to get lots of a lot of benefit out of observe them and watching them in training and see why they're still playing at that level.
Andrea, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your time. It's been absolutely brilliant. I keep saying brilliant. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, and I hope we can do this again sometime. Before I let you go, do you want to tell our listeners what you're doing with yourself now? Because I know you're doing a few bits for La Liga TV. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm an analyst for La Liga TV.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. See, not just a pretty face.
You can watch me from Cyprus and Greece if you like to, and from England as well.
There you go.
Of course. So we do La Liga games and different type of tactic programs and debates during the week about La Liga, Spanish league, and I really enjoy it with your friend Semra. And I've got a weekly column with the Evening Standard as well about La Liga.
You're in the ES as well? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, they're out on Fridays. So I analyze the weekend games and stuff. I work as a scout as well for an agency, and that keeps me busy a lot. So I'm watching football all day. So now I've got I've got my notes, man. I've got my Omonia young players here on my notes. I'll have a look at them.
I'll send you a list of them. But yeah, no, listen, again, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you on the podcast, man. It's been fantastic. I hope we could do it again sometime. I know you're a really busy guy and you're going on holiday as well. So
yeah, I am.
Enjoy your holiday
for a few days. Thank you. Thank
you.
It's been a pleasure.
Are you on any social media you'd like to mention before I wrap it up?
I'm on Instagram. Andrea Orlandi S. And that's it. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I used to, but I think I still got it, but I've never.
Don't blame you.
I've never been in. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah. Excellent. Bomba. Right, gentlemen, boys and girls, ladies, everyone that's watching. Andrea Orlandi. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And also, Maria Marco, she's suffering from leukemia. We're trying to raise 30,000 quid to help her out. You know where the links are. It's all on my Instagram. Yeah, so donate. And we've got a special surprise for everyone coming soon. We're going to do a raffle. I'm not going to tell you guys what we're raffling off just yet because I haven't got it yet. But when it arrives, I'll tell you a lot. There you go. So until next time, Govella, Nastekala, Pameshtia.